Hi, Will.
Hey, Ankur.
So what do you think these guys have in store for us today?
I really don't know, but we'll figure it out.
Yep.
For the last 3+ years, if you were not AI native or at least AI all in, which we can talk about what that means in a minute, you would not get $1 of funding. But that is not the same as what we're seeing in the rest of the global south. And even in India, the Silicon Valley of India and Bangalore here, Ankur, you're not seeing that, are you?
Not really, but it is getting there. I think most of the startups at the very beginning were still figuring out how to use this tech. It has come along a long way in the last 2-3 years, and now people are using it to solve real problems, and they are moving towards AI all-in is the state that most of the founders that I meet nowadays are in. But it's not truly AI native in the sense that everything which where you want to raise funds has to have a AI built story or led story as such. It's mostly about problems, how you solve them, and how AI is going to be the driver to actually create a differentiation is where the mindset currently is.
But do you see that mindset with all founders, or what percent? Because I'm pretty sure it's not all of them.
Yeah, I think that's a very good question, Will. I think in the last couple of years, the proportion of founders have increased. Maybe a couple of years ago, 1 out of every 5 founders that I met had that that frame of mind. But right now, maybe 3 out of 5. So that's very good to hear. Everybody understands and gets that this is once in a lifetime kind of a moment in the tech evolution. Everybody wants to benefit out of it, but how it will evolve. And to that effect, I'll just bring in another story that I wanted to talk to you about. Is that I was first introduced to internet back in 1996 or 1997, and I and my grandfather visited one of the internet cafes which were very close to my house at that point of time. And one of my pitch to my grandfather at that point of time was that, I go to this cafe, I spend 20 rupees an hour, and I'll have access to all the books in the world. And that is how, and if you think about that, the business model that at least in my young mind, maybe 10-year-old at that point of time, 9 years old, was that, the differentiating factor is the cyber cafe here. You have real estate, you go there, you have air condition, and everything else is free. It's the magical world that you enter into. But see the evolution of how internet has happened, and the distribution and the IP and everything else, how it's evolved was very different from, say, for example, as a young kid, what I was imagining back in the day. I think something similar will play out. I think this was our frame of mind even when you introduced me to AI and in our Sri Lanka offsite maybe a couple of years ago. And as a techie at heart, I was like gung-ho that, this is going to change. But all of you made us cautiously aware at that point of time that the form and shape it's going to take and the amount of time it's going to take to actually reach where it ends up in maybe 30 years down the line is something very, very hard to fathom. And I think that realization has seeped into most of the founders now, that you need to keep iterating. This technology is changing so fast that you cannot just sit on your laurels and think that, I have a slight TMF here. Let's go ahead. I've reached a $1 million. And then $5 million will just be a piece of cake. You need to iterate.
I think that the 10-year-old Ankur in 1996 probably couldn't really envision what was going to happen with many of the things that are on the internet today, right? But you did envision the access to information and the openness of the platform. And AI is certainly taking up the next stage. But I also think we are seeing founders that are recognizing the speed at which they can innovate. And if you're even to rewind 5 years, we made an investment recently that we can't talk about yet, but it went from 0 to, what's the revenue number after?
1.2 million.
1.2 million in a year. Less than a year. 10 months, right? Couldn't have done that, certainly not in India, even a couple of years ago. That requires being a AI native application.
Yeah.
And some founders, small team,
Yeah.
moving fast with a
Yeah.
very clear use case.
Yeah, I agree to that. And one of the things that I just wanted to highlight is maybe the mindship change in most of the quality founders that we are meeting nowadays. Maybe 10 years ago, most of the founders, what they were looking to experiment on or grow their business through was in a way replicating some of the business models which have already worked in the US or China. But when I meet founders nowadays, the Indian founders, they do not believe that they are at any disadvantage compared to a founder sitting in the Silicon Valley and the kind of access that he has. And AI has, in a way, democratized that. You can now build a team in India, can have the same access that you would have sitting out of SFO as well.
And that's true today, but even go back 2 years,
Yeah.
it wasn't really true.
Yeah.
Because one of the values that we have brought as being a firm that is both a global South firm, but also a Bangalore, India firm,
Yeah.
is that we bring the knowledge and access.
Yeah.
And we were really showing people stuff that they couldn't find. Maybe they could have, but they didn't.
Yeah.
Right. And so we were really bringing a lot of the state of the art of AI innovation to the founders here to help them get going on their AI journey faster.
Yeah.
And these were founders who were maybe AI dabbling, right? At most.
Yeah. Yeah.
And many of them were just building businesses
Yeah.
that are hard to build.
Yeah.
And we're saying, hey, you can build a better business faster
Yeah.
by applying this AI and going ultimately AI all in.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's been quite a journey for a number of our founders.
Yep. Absolutely agree to that. And kudos to this new generation, the next generation of founders which are coming up, who are actually envisioning with our help and guidance that they can compete with the best in the world, and they are getting there. And that mindset has actually opened up a lot, and they are thinking AI first in many of the instances that we have put capital behind. I think the question itself is wrong. What I'll describe in turn is what are the qualities that I'm looking at when I'm judging whether we should come in or invest in a particular founder. First of all, obviously the resilience should be there. They should have the subject matter expertise and everything else that is fairly obvious to VC investors. But one of the key things that I'm looking at is that they should know how to build a good business, good and viable business. They should not always depend on external pools of capital coming in and letting them grow. And say, for example, if tomorrow the market turns and you do not have the kind of flow that you have maybe in the last 1 year or that you see in the Indian markets, they should still survive. And sustainability is what I'm looking at.
And that point has nothing to do with AI, right?
Yeah. Nothing to do with AI, but you should be agile enough. You should be curious enough to experiment with everything. You should have the sagacity to actually say that, okay, this is working, this is not working, and you have to fail fast. If you have to iterate. And one of the things that I always talk to my teammates about is that most of the successful companies that I have seen in the last, I think, 13th year in the VC in India, are companies who are able to iterate fast. Whatever they start out with, they do not typically end up with the final product that they have.
But in the world of AI now, I'd argue that is having to increase in speed by at least a factor of 2, if not more.
Yeah.
And just like the founder we were talking about earlier, it went 0 to over $1 million revenue in 10 months.
Yeah.
Right. That means they're moving fast every single day.
Yeah.
Right. And I think that in the world where the AI is changing so fast, the founders that are not moving at the speed of AI, they're not going to succeed.
Yep.
Because they're going to be run over by somebody who is.
Yep.
Right.
And one of the things that as a VC, one of the things which have become slightly easier for us in a way is that people earlier, before the AI age, used to come to us, show us the TAM and SOM numbers and this and that. Now we tell them that, okay, you want to sell in the US, you can use an agent there. If you want any other service, maybe there's some other tool that you can use up, and just show us how the business you are trying to build is going to be built. Show us some revenues in a way. So pre-revenue was one of the hotter things earlier, but I think most of the VCs, what they are chasing right now, that if you have an idea, go and implement it and come back and
sure they can get some money for it quickly.
Yeah.
I think there's another thing that I look for, that we all have been looking for, is as a founder who understands the difference between a rapidly prototyped, even something they've got some money coming in, so they've got a MVP plus, and one that actually can build a moat. And I think there's a lot, and I know that there's one sector we looked at, I think we looked at about a dozen companies, and we didn't invest in any of them because they had no moat, right? And no differentiation. And so given that everybody can innovate quickly, just because you did doesn't mean that you're investable. Because again, if you haven't shown that you can both innovate quickly and build some sustainable value through moats, or have deep domain expertise that nobody else has, or access to data that nobody else has, then you're just like anything else. Somebody else can vibe code this up in a weekend, right?
Totally agree with you.
So we're gonna keep churning through those guys that are undifferentiated, right, and look for the ones that show that they have true differentiation.
And eventually it's like we are early stage investors. At some point we are taking founder bets. We do not have established revenue streams and other things. So I think it's more about the kind of character and the kind of persona that the person has. Some subject matter expertise that he or she is bringing along is something which acts as a differentiator. AI all in is a hygiene. You have to be, that has to be there. But all the other factors that we talked about actually makes founder great. Versus, say, for example, where we will not typically put our money behind. AI is getting pushed into enterprises. Maybe we have to rethink the entire structure. We have to go first principles here.
Because I think that one of the points in the 95% of pilots that fail, there's also 5% that succeeded. And I think that the thing to do is to look at what are the ones that succeeded and why. And from all the conversations I've had in enterprises, the leaders that see the AI pilot process to be not one of a technology problem, but actually one of a human change engineering problem. Right? It's change management. And if you think about the change management, because you are trying to get a new technology to be used by people, some of whom might feel threatened. Some of them might just feel the fear of the unknown. And so you have to do the change management work, which is very different than a different problem than simply saying, hey, I've rolled out a new tech and I send a memo out and I want everybody to use it. Those are the ones that are going to fail.
I think the bigger problem is on the people front.
Exactly.
How do you actually make people understand that this is going to work out for them in future as well? And again, going back about 25 odd years, one of the things which was very like one of the things that people were thinking about at that point of time, especially in PSUs in India, public sector units, when the computerization of all the records and everything was happening, that it will lead to significant amount of job loss. But how it again played out is very different. So I take your point that it's mostly a human capital change management kind of an issue. How do you implement it? And obviously there are some tech issues which are still being solved for recognition, observability, explainability, and even we recently put money in a company which is working on the data layer to enable faster enterprise adoption of GenAI and other related areas.
So one way I've seen a founder that I spoke with him and his executive staff a couple of weeks ago, and what he said to his team was, hey, with this one group, I want to be able to double my business without adding one more person in that group. Right. And now, of course, a couple of years ago, that would be impossible. Right. Now that's entirely possible. I mean, we need to increase that productivity. We look at our portfolio company 5C, and they, through their radiology copilot, they call it the bionic copilot, they can effectively 50% or increase or double the productivity of a radiologist pretty much anywhere in the world with the tech they have today. So now, and we know that demand outstrips supply. So business can grow simply by making use of good AI implementations, and that's going to I think drive much more. As enterprises see that happens, they're going to say, hey, why would I not want to do that? Double my business, same cost.
Yeah. And again, I just want to bring up one of the conversations that I was having with the founder, I think a couple of weeks ago. And there's a perception building around in the enterprises that LLMs are not very good with numbers. So you cannot trust them, right? And he brought in a point of view which really opened up my eyes. And he said that, okay, what are LLMs good at? I said that, okay, cursors and everything else, it's pretty good at coding, like basic stuff. And through coding, you can solve for numbers, right? You can actually
the LLMs can write Python code.
Yeah, you can write Python code. Yeah. So if LLMs cannot digest and ingest numbers as well, maybe they can push the numbers to the Python code, which can again be generated through LLM. So this
and they can also do SQL queries, and they can do all those sorts of things. So there are ways around that problem. That's very correct.
Yeah. And so if we are able to think through, and this is just one of the instances, and the main problem is how much reliable they are when it comes to enterprise workflows, and if you are able to solve for most of these issues, but in the longer term, I think there will always be a human in the loop, just to make sure that things.
We'll see. I think I'll debate you on that one. I think there will be workloads for which there will not be a human in the primary loop.
Yeah.
There may be a human backup or second or tertiary.
Yeah.
But I think in the primary loop, they should be able to move to fully AI automated pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Now, I also want to bring up one other shift I think we're going to see in the enterprise, which is the enterprises don't necessarily need access to a full-on Gemini Pro, GPT 4 or 5, whatever, to do some of the things they're doing.
Yeah.
What they need is an LLM that's fast and is tuned to a particular domain.
Yeah.
And if it can't do another domain and it can't pass the medical entrance exam and it can't solve a physics problem, that's okay, right? If it does give good answers quickly to the problems that it needs.
Yeah.
So I think we are going to see a migration in the enterprise to providers that are using more targeted models with good software wrapped and built around them that is directly addressing an enterprise workload with accuracy and speed.
Cool.
And those may or may not be using as much of the big cloud-based full state-of-the-art LLMs because, frankly, those still have more costs, more latency, and maybe solve problems or have features that aren't needed to solve the particular enterprise workload.
So are you saying, that customizable SLMs is where the most of the adoption will happen?
I think that there will be a lot of enterprise adoption as providers start to use small and medium models.
Yeah.
Now, they may use large models for certain things, but they'll select, right?
Yeah.
And their front end is going to pick the right model for the right job.
Yeah.
And look, I'm a carpenter sometimes as a hobby,
Yeah.
and everybody says use the right tool for the job.
Yeah.
Right. If you need to put a nail into a board, don't use a screwdriver.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
If you need to put a screw into a board, don't use a hammer.
Yeah.
And same thing applies relative to which LLM to use to solve the enterprise problem. I'm glad that we're talking about 2 or 3 years, because if you think about 3 or 5 years or more, it's really hard to tell in the world of AI, right? Anybody that tells you they know where AI is going in that period of time, I think is smoking something.
Yeah.
But in the next couple of years, we can actually have, I think, a pretty good idea that the West Coast VC is going to be doing what it does best, which is around deep infrastructure and the tools and systems that sit on top of that, to, in many cases, replace humans in the entirety. And that is one of the existential threats that we all face, is that technology will take humans out of loop in the entirety.
Yeah.
But I think that will take more time than people think, and we're not there yet. And I think that what India has been good at, and what we've been seeing very good founders do, is to have this combination of AI as augmented intelligence rather than alternative intelligence, right? Or artificial intelligence. So what are some examples that you've seen recently around augmented intelligence solutions, human in the loop, AI plus human?
Yeah. So this investment that we have done, we have not announced it yet. It's in the media business development reps or sales development rep space, and they are building an AI agent for that. They started out by building agent which can fully replace an SDR, but over a period of time they realize that what the SMEs in the US and other developed markets are typically looking for are outcomes. That, say for example, the sales development rep is trying to set up a meeting for the sales team to actually get into to actually pitch their product. So they are more concerned with the outcome. So what they have now done is that they have brought in customer success professionals inside their team, and they are using the AI agent to augment the intelligence or CVM that these guys are having. And now they are charging the clients on the outcome basis, that if you are looking for the right ICP, you are looking to set up meetings, I'll set up 5 meetings or 10 meetings in a month or a week for you, and I'm going to charge you for that. But I'll be my understanding of your customer as well as the human touch that I bring in is so good that I'm able to promise you outcomes rather than just having people on your roll or something like that.
And this is the really important point you made here is when we invested, they actually were telling us these are basically going to be AI alternative SDRs that charge a percentage of what the SDR's annual comp would be. And they've now said, hey, that's actually not what people want. And that's where this augmentation as opposed to alternative or replacement is coming out. And I think we're seeing other examples like this as well, right?
You mentioned 5C, and that's another.
Yeah, and that's the one where the CEO Kalyan likes to. He shows a picture where he shows. I think Jeffrey Hint in 2018 says that AIs are going to replace radiologists in the entirety. And then the next picture he shows, which is a traffic jam of people of radiologists coming to the conference. And who have not been replaced. They're not looking for jobs. They're coming there to look and see how AI can help them do their job better. And that's what they're all about, is basically being a co-pilot for radiologists. And it's going to be a long time before somebody wants to trust software in the entirety to do something like make a determination around, what kind of brain cancer I have, or what's the right way to look at a difficult fracture in my arm or whatever. That's where the human is going to be there for a long time, I think.
And I think this human-in-the-loop software is something which India will truly stand out on. And beyond that, I think there are other models. We are investing in SME manufacturing units, B2B businesses, where very exciting startups are coming up and about. Healthcare is one of the areas that we are also going after. But one of the things that the driving force is that although we have the human capital advantage here, we can have human in the loop, but because of the AI wave, we are on the tech side, we are not any less than, say, for example, a Silicon Valley startup which is funded $50 million on day one is. So in a way, that's an advantage for India.
I think there's one other advantage for India coming along and for founders that go after this, which is the second largest sector of employment in India is what they call the frontline workforce, right? This is the blue collar, gray collar. And AI can provide uplift to those blue collar, gray collar workers to really increase their productivity, their capability, their speed from which they started a job until they meet maximum productivity. And that's going to create basically just more economic efficiency for the country, right? Because those blue collar, gray collar workers, by the tens of millions, are going to be more productive and more capable of driving the economy. And that's something that economies that have a declining workforce, Japan would be a great example, Italy, they're struggling, right? They don't have enough people. They don't have enough people to uplift. So they're waiting for robotics, right, to replace the people they don't have. Whereas India has this huge supply of capable labor that can be uplifted through AI.
And in fact, this brings to the next point. One of the other pieces is that we have on the cross-border staffing space, right? So because of AI, the amount of upskilling that we can provide this blue and gray collar workers, they're not only be able to achieve the best quality of standards which is there in India, but they're globally competitive as well. And now a nurse or any other healthcare staff being trained in India can be directly employed in a developing economy and meet their standards and other things. So this cross-border staffing is something which also is an area which AI can enable.
I just saw a quote from the CEO of Ford that they have tens of thousands of job openings that they see around the country for trained mechanics that aren't getting filled. Well, now putting U.S. immigration policy aside for a moment, but you could imagine that people that want a job that can learn how to become a mechanic much more quickly with having AI at their side. Right. And so again, the uplifting of people in the vocational training in the vocational areas is going to be a benefit for countries that have that access to that labor.
Well, nice conversation, but you also know that, okay, 1 year down the line, when we look at this video, we'll think that, okay, what was I smoking at that point of time? Because things are moving along so fast in this AI world that it's very difficult to predict anything. But what I am really convinced about is the kind of founders that they are meeting and the drive that they have. And the willingness to go AI all in is something which is just pointing to a very positive future. Very hard to predict, but I think whatever will happen for good.